How Europe underdeveloped Africa. The hidden truth they never taught you. What if I told you that Africa's poverty is not a product of laziness, not a curse, and certainly not due to lack of resources or good luck? The truth? Africa was deliberately underdeveloped. By who? Europe. For centuries, the wealth of the African continent was drained, its people enslaved, its cultures dismantled, and its future mortgaged. Today, we take a deep dive into how Europe underdeveloped Africa, not just through conquest, but through systems, ideas, and theft that still shape Africa today. This isn't just history, it's your story. Africa before Europe. Long before European ships touched African shores, the continent was thriving. Africa had sophisticated trade routes across the Sahara and Indian Ocean, empires like Mali, Songhai, and Ethiopia, centers of learning like Timbuktu, where thousands studied math, astronomy, and philosophy, a rich tradition of art, governance, and commerce. But then, something changed. Europe wasn't stronger, it was desperate. The beginning of plunder, slavery. From the 15th century, Europe turned its eyes on Africa, not for friendship, but for exploitation. Over 12 million Africans were ripped from their homes and sold like cargo during the transatlantic slave trade. This wasn't just human loss, it was economic sabotage. Africa lost its workforce, innovators, youth, social cohesion. Meanwhile, Europe built its industrial revolution off African backs. Let that sink in. Europe got rich by making Africa poor. Colonialism, the second wave of theft. In 1884, European powers met in Berlin to carve up Africa, like slices of cake. Not a single African was present. The result? Over 90% of Africa was colonized. The colonial powers took gold, diamonds, rubber, oil, cocoa, forced Africans into labor, taxed communities without giving anything back, killed dissenters and destroyed resistance. The colonizers built no real infrastructure, only roads to extract resources to ports. Even education was limited, designed only to train clerks, not leaders. This was not development, it was extraction. Divide, washturi, rule, and distort. To control Africa, the colonizers used a dangerous strategy: divide and rule. Artificial borders grouped rival tribes and split united ones. They favored certain ethnic groups over others to create divisions. They destroyed indigenous systems of governance. Even language was weaponized. English in Nigeria, French in Senegal, Portuguese in Mozambique. Africans were made to speak like the master and forget their own. And the worst part? They made Africans believe they were inferior. This psychological war was just as brutal. Fake independence. The legacy of colonialism. Between the 1950s and 1970s, African nations won independence. But did they? Europe left behind. Weak economies dependent on raw exports, elites trained in Western loyalty, no technological base, borders that still fuel conflict. And they didn't leave empty-handed. They left with companies, banks, and control over African currencies, like the CFA franc still used in West Africa. Worse still, Europe supported puppet dictators who served foreign interests. This wasn't freedom, it was neo-colonialism. Debt, aid, and the new chains. Today, colonialism wears a suit and tie. Through the World Bank, IMF, and aid agencies, Africa is kept in a cycle of debt. They give us loans with conditions, cut education and health budgets, sell public assets, open markets to foreign companies. This is economic warfare. And those aid packages, they're often recycled money, a bandage for a wound Europe created. Africa sends out more wealth than it receives. That's underdevelopment by design. The way forward. So where do we go from here? We must reclaim our history and rewrite the narrative. Build economies that serve the people, not foreign interests, unite across borders and languages, invest in African innovation, education, and leadership. Europe underdeveloped Africa? Yes, but we can redevelop ourselves. The future of Africa will not be decided in London or Paris. It will be built in Lagos, Nairobi, Accra, Johannesburg, and beyond. This is not just a history lesson, but a call to conscience, a call to the realization of the imperatives of Pan-Africanism. It's a call to action, because Africa doesn't need saving, it needs awakening. If you found this video powerful, share it. Hit the like button. Drop a comment. Africa will rise again. And don't forget to subscribe for more truth-telling stories about our continent. Until next time, stay informed, stay proud, and stay awake. This is ReThink Africa.